How Not to Die. Discover the food scientifically proven to prevent and reverse disease, by Dr. Michael Greger with GeneStone. Let me tell you about a woman who literally came back from death's door. Picture this. It's the 1970s. A 65-year-old woman sits in a wheelchair, her chest a roadmap of scars from countless heart surgeries. The surgeons have run out of options, out of veins to bypass, out of hope. They gather her family and deliver the words nobody wants to hear. There's nothing more we can do. They send her home to die. But here's where the story gets interesting. This wasn't just any woman. This was Frances Greger, grandmother to a wide-eyed boy, who would grow up asking questions nobody else seemed to be asking. And what happened next? Well, it would spark a medical revolution that started in the most unlikely place, the kitchen. Because Frances didn't die, against all odds, she got better. Her family caught a segment on 60 Minutes about Nathan Pritikin, a maverick who was doing the impossible, reversing terminal heart disease with plants and walking. Desperate, they wheeled Frances across the country to his center. A few weeks later, she walked out on her own 2 feet. She lived another 31 years, long enough to watch that amazed little boy become Dr. Michael Greger. That moment changed everything for him. If the cure to America's biggest killer wasn't hiding in a pharmacy but sitting on grocery store shelves, what else were we missing? What other secrets was nobody telling us? This book is his answer. And trust me, it's not your typical, eat more vegetables lecture. This is a full-blown investigation into the 15 ways we're most likely to die, backed by thousands of scientific studies, with a simple but radical message. Your fork is more powerful than any prescription pad. Today, we're diving into the most jaw-dropping discoveries from this game-changing book. By the time we're done, you'll see that your health isn't a genetic lottery or a game of chance. It's a choice you make 3 times a day, every single day. Ready? Let's jump in. Here's something that should make you sit up in your chair. Most deaths in America are completely preventable. We're not talking about freak accidents or rare genetic conditions. We're talking about heart disease, cancer, diabetes, the big killers. And they're all connected to what we're eating for dinner. Sounds dramatic, right? But Dr. Greger walks us through the evidence, piece by fascinating piece. 100 years ago, people died from infections, tuberculosis, pneumonia, things we couldn't control. Today, we're dying from what he calls lifestyle diseases, conditions we're essentially giving ourselves with every meal. And before you blame your family tree, here's the kicker. When people move from countries where these diseases are rare to America, their disease rates skyrocket within a generation. Same genes, different food, completely different outcomes. It's not what's in your DNA, it's what's on your plate. The science is pretty clear. Genetics account for maybe 10 to 20% of your risk for most major diseases. The other 80 to 90%? That's all you, baby. Your family history doesn't have to become your future. The real reason diseases run in families is that recipes run in families. So what's wrong with how we're handling this? Dr. Greger has this brilliant analogy. He says our healthcare system is like someone frantically mopping around an overflowing sink instead of just turning off the tap. We're amazing at managing symptoms. Got high cholesterol? Here's a pill. High blood pressure? Another pill. High blood sugar? You guessed it, another pill. But here's the thing. These pills rarely fix the actual problem. Drug companies love this arrangement. They get to sell you that roll of paper towels every day for the rest of your life. But nobody's getting rich by teaching you to turn off the faucet. Dr. Greger's grandmother didn't have a drug deficiency. She had a food problem. When she changed what she ate, her body did what bodies are designed to do. It healed itself. This is the absolute core of this entire book. Given the right conditions, your body is a self-healing machine. Think about when you bang your shin on a coffee table. It swells up, turns purple, hurts like crazy. But you don't do anything, and a week later, good as new, your body just knows. But imagine if you kept whacking that same spot 3 times a day, every day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. It would never heal. You could take all the painkillers in the world, feel better temporarily, and think modern medicine saved you. But you'd still be re-injuring yourself constantly. The pills are just masking what's really happening. This is exactly what millions of us are doing to our arteries with every meal. Heart disease kills nearly 400,000 Americans every year. That's the equivalent of a September 11th attack every 3 days, but we've somehow normalized it. The culprit isn't a virus or bad luck. It's fatty plaque building up in our arteries like sludge in old pipes. Want to hear something truly disturbing? Heart disease starts in childhood. By age 10, almost every kid raised on the standard American diet already has fatty streaks in their arteries, the first domino falling. So we're not really talking about preventing heart disease. We're talking about reversing the damage that's already there. And here's where it gets exciting. Dr. Greger points to pioneers like Dean Ornish, who proved we can reverse heart disease. Dr. Ornish took patients so sick they were waiting for heart transplants and put them on a plant-based diet with some walking. That's it. No fancy drugs, no cutting-edge surgery. The result? Using high-tech imaging, he showed clogged arteries opening back up, blood flowing where it hadn't in years, bodies healing themselves without a single pharmaceutical intervention. It should have been front-page news everywhere. So why didn't it change everything? Dr. Greger realized something depressing. Doctors get paid for prescriptions and procedures, not for teaching people how to eat kale. The financial incentives are completely backwards. He decided the only way forward was to bypass the medical establishment entirely and put the information directly in people's hands. Which brings us to the diet that can stop and reverse our #1 killer. Ready for the complexity? Eat mostly plants. That's it. But Dr. Greger makes it even easier with a traffic light system. Green light foods are your heroes. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, unprocessed plants. Eat these freely. Yellow light foods are proceed with caution. Processed plant foods like pasta, or unprocessed animal foods like fish. Eat these moderately. Red light foods are the danger zone. Ultra-processed junk and processed meats like bacon and hot dogs. Minimize or avoid these. The beautiful simplicity is that every time you choose green, you're not just getting the benefits of that food. You're also avoiding the damage from a red light option. It's a double win. Now let's talk about cancer, our #2 killer. Here's something wild. We all have cancer cells forming in our bodies constantly. Right now, as you're listening to this, you've got rogue cells trying to become tumors. But your immune system has these incredible natural killer cells patrolling your bloodstream like security guards, taking out the troublemakers before they can cause problems. Dr. Greger describes these mind-blowing experiments where researchers took people's blood and dripped it onto cancer cells in petri dishes. The blood from people eating the standard American diet could fight cancer, slowing growth by about 9%. Not bad. But the blood from people eating a whole food, plant-based diet, it had nearly 8 times the cancer-stopping power, wiping out 70% of cancer growth. 8 times more effective. From just eating differently for a year. Let that sink in. What kind of blood do you want flowing through your veins? The book gets specific about cancer-fighting superfoods. Take broccoli. It contains this compound called sulforaphane, one of the most powerful anti-cancer agents ever discovered. It can protect your DNA, supercharge your liver's detox systems, and even target breast cancer stem cells, the queen bees that make tumors come back. But there's a catch. The enzyme that creates sulforaphane gets destroyed by heat. Boil your broccoli and you've just murdered its cancer-fighting superpowers. Dr. Greger shares this genius hack-and-hold method. Chop your broccoli and let it sit for 40 minutes before cooking. The enzyme does its work, creating heat-stable sulforaphane. Then cook it however you want. Or, here's an even cooler trick. Sprinkle some mustard powder on your cooked greens. Mustard contains the enzyme, so it acts like a stunt double, creating sulforaphane right on your plate. Then there's turmeric, that golden spice. The book geeks out over its active ingredient, curcumin. Study after study shows it fighting cancer, crushing inflammation, even treating rheumatoid arthritis better than leading drugs. Just a quarter teaspoon daily makes a difference. Add a pinch of black pepper, and you boost absorption by 2,000%. 2,000%. What about Alzheimer's, that terrifying disease that steals your memories and your very identity? We've been told it's genetic, unavoidable, a cruel roll of the dice. But Dr. Greger presents compelling evidence that for most people, Alzheimer's is a lifestyle disease. Check out the Nigerian paradox. Nigerians have the highest rates of the so-called Alzheimer's gene, yet some of the lowest rates of actual Alzheimer's in the world. Why? Their traditional diet is low in animal fat and centered on grains and vegetables. Their low cholesterol seems protective. It turns out what's good for your heart is good for your brain. The same gunk clogging arteries to your heart is thought to choke off blood flow to your brain, contributing to dementia. Even with bad genes, diet often wins. You have way more control over your medical destiny than you've been led to believe. This principle extends to something shocking. The third leading cause of death is actually medical care itself. Hundreds of thousands of Americans die every year from hospital errors, medication side effects, and infections. The best way to not die from doctors? Don't need them in the first place. The book then shifts from theory to practice with the Daily Dozen, a simple checklist of 12 things Dr. Greger tries to fit into his routine. 3 servings of beans, 1 of berries, 3 of other fruits, 1 of cruciferous vegetables, 2 of greens, 2 of other vegetables, 1 of flax seeds, 1 of nuts, 1 of herbs and spices, especially that quarter teaspoon of turmeric, 3 of whole grains, 5 of beverages like water or green tea, and 1 of exercise. Sounds like a lot. He shows how 1 big salad can check off 7 or 8 boxes. A morning smoothie might hit 5 more. The Daily Dozen trains you to ask 1 question at every meal. How can I make this even healthier? He dives into each category with fascinating details. Did you know nuts, despite being calorie-dense, are associated with weight loss? When people add nuts to their diet, they don't gain the expected weight. Nuts boost metabolism, keep you satisfied so you eat less later, and some of their fat isn't even absorbed. Or take flax seeds. Just 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed daily can lower blood pressure more effectively than leading medications. For women with breast cancer, it appears to slow tumor growth and improve survival. The second half tackles common questions and myths. Organic, worth it? GMOs, dangerous? Raw versus cooked vegetables? He answers with evidence, not ideology. Some nutrients get destroyed by cooking. Others, like lycopene in tomatoes, become more available. The best approach mixes both. He covers simple hacks like adding vinegar to meals to blunt blood sugar spikes, or drinking hibiscus tea to lower blood pressure as effectively as some medications. But perhaps the most profound idea is about aging itself. At the tip of each chromosome sits a little cap called a telomere, like the plastic tip on a shoelace preventing fraying. Every time cells divide, a bit of that cap disappears. When it's gone, the cell dies. Telomeres are literally our life's fuse. Smoking triples the rate of telomere loss. But eating antioxidant-rich foods is associated with longer, more protective telomeres. Dr. Greger details landmark research by Dean Ornish and Nobel Prize winner Elizabeth Blackburn. They found that a plant-based diet and healthy lifestyle changes significantly boosted telomerase, the enzyme that rebuilds telomeres. In a follow-up study, they measured telomeres in men who adopted this lifestyle. The control group's telomeres predictably shrank with age, but the healthy living group, their telomeres didn't just shrink less, they actually grew longer. 5 years later, they had reversed cellular aging. The food did that. This is the ultimate promise. It's not just about avoiding disease, it's about slowing, maybe even reversing, the aging process itself. It's about taking power back from the food industry, pharmaceutical companies, and even your own genes, and putting it firmly on your plate. The message isn't fear or restriction, it's profound hope and empowerment. The vast majority of premature death and disability is preventable. We have the power. And it all starts with your very next meal. When I finished reading this book, I just had to sit with it for a while. It's not just information. It fundamentally changes how you see your body and the food you put into it. The most powerful lesson for me is the incredible sense of control it gives you. We live in a culture that treats health like a lottery, good genes or bad genes. Get sick or get lucky. Dr. Greger demolishes that myth with mountains of scientific evidence. Your choices matter. They matter enormously. His grandmother's story perfectly captures this. The best doctors in the world gave up on her. But her body hadn't given up on itself. It just needed a chance. That's revolutionary in a world pushing a pill for every problem. It suggests health isn't something you get from a doctor, but something you cultivate yourself, every single day. This isn't some fad diet. Dr. Greger calls it an evidence-based diet. He's not a guru. He's a guide pointing to patterns emerging from thousands of studies. The pattern is clear. The more whole plant foods you eat, the better. It's not all or nothing. It's a direction. And the Daily Dozen is brilliant because it focuses on what to add, not just what to take away. It's about abundance, not deprivation. So how can you start applying this today? It's simpler than you think. First, just add one thing from the Daily Dozen to your routine. Just one. Maybe berries in your cereal, or a tablespoon of ground flaxseed in a smoothie, or a big salad for lunch. Don't worry about the other 11. Just start with one and see how you feel. Small, consistent changes build a lifetime of health. Second, try using the traffic light model for a single day. Just mentally categorize the foods you encounter: green, yellow, or red. Don't judge yourself. Just observe. This simple awareness can powerfully shift your choices over time. Third, if you're feeling adventurous, try Dr. Greger's 3-week experiment. For 21 days, commit to eating mostly whole plant foods. Treat it like a science experiment on yourself. What happens to your energy, your sleep, your mood, your digestion? After 3 weeks, you can always go back. But I'm guessing you won't want to. That was a summary of How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. We've explored some powerful ideas today, but a summary is like a travel brochure. It shows you pictures but can't give you the feeling of sun on your skin. The real journey begins when you read the book yourself. The detailed explanations, hundreds of studies, and sheer weight of evidence. That's where true transformation happens. This summary is your map, but the book is the territory. If anything sparked your curiosity or gave you hope, grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning facts. It's an experience that can fundamentally change how you care for yourself and the people you love. You can find a link in the description below. If this journey through nutrition science has been valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe. It lets me know this work matters and ensures you won't miss our next exploration. Let's keep learning and growing together. Thanks for listening.